Welcome traders. In this video we're going to go over the trades from Monday, October 23rd through Friday, October 27th, which was of course a volatile week in the markets. We're going to be using the Zonetraderpro version 13, and on the left I have the SPY, which we use as a proxy for the ES, and on the right I have the older 25-second ES trend chart. So that's why you're going to see a different bloodhound answer down below here. The purpose of having both is so that you can compare for yourself which template you like better, and to give you some ideas on how you might want to use both in your trading, maybe as a confirmation or some other idea that you may have. The reason that we are using the VIX is simple. The VIX is a representation of options trades that need to be hedged in real time. If you're not aware, when an options dealer takes a trade, he can either be the buyer or the seller of a put or a call. This means that he has to dynamically hedge those trades that are being placed with him so that he will not lose money. This is the reason why we want to trade with the VIX. As we are trading with the VIX, we are trading with the options dealer's hedging activities. And those hedging activities are going to be maintained in a market that is volatile or a market that is not volatile. Options dealers are still required to hedge on all of the trades that are being placed with them. This is what gives the Zonetraderpro system an advantage over other trading systems. So we're going to start out Monday at approximately 9:50 Eastern with 3 wins, and at about 10:30 we have our first loss. Now, what you're going to hear me say a lot is pretty much exactly what you see on this chart. I have circled the area where we're likely to get into the trade at, and as you can see, the trend chart on the new version goes red while we are still basically at break even or just a very small loss. So the majority of the losses that you're going to see today have an extremely small loss. Some of them even present a profit when the trend changes, and if you had taken profits at that point, you would have not had any loss at all. So we'll go ahead and keep advancing. We have 2 trades here, an additional 2 wins here. Here we have an example of a loss where at this point right here, when you're only losing about 1.5 points, the older version of the template actually flips red. Here we have another loss where, again, there is a short trade. The signal busts up here, and we're giving green VIX signal here. The loss on this trade is probably about 1.5 points. Follow that by a win. Another loss here. Again, I would note that on the chart on the right, we are seeing red. Here we have a losing short trade, again with a very small loss, when the trends turn green on both charts, followed by a nice long and a pair of short trades that were both winners. Here we have another one of those small losses where we come back to our break even when the trend has turned green. Here we have a loss. However, one of the things that I train you on is how you avoid a high risk trade. And this trade does present a higher risk. It is following an exhaustion, which is a possible trend changing pattern. And as you can see here, the trend changed for approximately 13 points and then continued short. We follow that up with 2 wins and again, 2 small losses. Unfortunately, both of these changed and flipped at our entry point, giving us small losses. And I want to make a point here also that what I'm looking at are these trades are 2 patterns which I call distribution and accumulation divergence. In this case, this is a distribution divergence, and a pattern called special divergence, which is from the high to the low in this case. I'm not including in the statistics if a trade had regular divergence, such as right here or right here. Going into the end of the day, we see a loss here, followed up by a pair of nice winning trades. A short trade here that changed trend approximately 2 minutes later, and if we'd exited, we had exited for a profit, and that would conclude Monday's trades. Moving on to Tuesday, we start with a loss, followed by a win, another small loss, and another nice win. I've noted right here that this is where the VIX flips, and the Bloodhound templates we're using are showing trend. As you can see from the chart on the right represents my real-time VIX templates. And what the chart on the right is doing is it's picking up in real time 4 different symbols associated with the VIX. So where we see the VIX flipping right here, this is what we see on the VIX chart, where this symbol is representing puts being bought, the VIXs, and the volatility of the VIXs on the bottom panel. So as you can see from this short trade right here, we had all 4 of the VIX signals going for us at this point. If we look at this short trade, at the time we entered the trade, we still had all the signals going for us. But in real time, at this point right here, we had then lost those signals, and those signals had become bullish. Our loss at this point would have been very small. We then follow that up with the signals in the bullish direction, and that gives us a 12-point long trade. As we look into the rest of the morning, we can see that we entered an extended period of bullishness for approximately 1 hour, and then we reversed that trend for strong bearish signals for the next 25 minutes. And we'll see that on the charts right now. So we start that off with that 12-point long trade, followed by a short trade into a real-time signal telling us to go long, which itself was good for approximately 10 points. We then followed that up with another winning trade. Again, after approximately 5 points, we have a real-time signal here with distribution divergence giving us an exit. We follow that up with another long winning trade, followed by 2 more, and another trade good for approximately 8 points. Here we have a losing long trade that, again, our loss on this is just a couple of points by the time it goes red down here. We follow that up with a series of 4 very nice short trades, followed by a short trade where the trend reverses after we've entered at approximately our entry point. We follow that up with a short trade, a long trade, and again a similar pattern with the long trade changing trends and resulting in a small loss. That led to a pretty strong 22-point sell-off, which followed 2 very good short trades, and then we had a series of 3 winning long trades with a losing long trade after that. Shortly after that, the system had 4 long winning trades, followed by 3 additional winning trades, followed by 2 additional winning trades, And that brings us to the end of Tuesday. Tuesday started off very bearish. However, because this is in the pre-market, I did not mark that as a winning trade. However, the market sold off hard into our first trading opportunity here. This is marked as a loss because we lost the divergence part of the distribution. Although we did have a very good KP2 ratio number here, that trade would still be considered a loss. We're going to follow that up with 3 winning trades. And again, here's that example of we would have entered the trade here. The trends and the VIXs were changing while we had a profit. And if you had exited, you would have exited for a profit and not a loss. We'd follow that up with a nice 13-point winning trade, 2 additional short trades. We have a long trade here, initially goes against us, and then when we have about a 2-point profit, we're given a real-time signal to exit. Here again is a winning trade that is marked as a loser because we would have entered it here. We would have gotten red VIX, and if you had exited, you would have exited for a profit. Same exact thing right here. And here we have a short trade that goes green at approximately our exit. The market then turns pretty bearish. We have a nice double divergence where we have both distribution and special divergence short signals. That was good for approximately 9 points. 2 more short trades, one good for 13, another good for 3.5. On the bottom here, this is again an exhaustion pattern down here, and we were given this real-time accumulation divergence signal down here telling us we should be careful. If you had pulled the trade at that point, you would have exited profit. We're going to follow that up with a small loss here and 2 nice winners here. That's going to take us to another short trade that is going to change trends just as we entered it. Have a nice long, again a long trade that changes trends on us, and then a very nice 15.5-point short trade here. Follow that up with 3 winners, 1 long for 8.5 points, another for 4.5, and then a short trade that is good for approximately 9.25 points from here. We next have a long trade where just after we entered, we are being given a red VIX. Follow that up with a nice 9-point long and a second 8.5-point long. Again, here are a couple of losses where if you had followed the signals, both of these would have not resulted in a large loss. Here we have a long trade, initially goes against us. If we would have gotten out down here, we could mark this as a loss. However, on the low it was still green, started to come up. That's when the trends flipped, and this is exactly the reason why we would want to have our VIX charts up and looking at them. If we look at the real-time charts, the VIX 9D had peaked at this point. The VIX had started to pull back, which would be bullish, and the core 90D had been falling along with the volatility of the VIX. So this would be an example of why you'd want to use your real-time information and either get out of a trade or at least tighten up your stop if this were to happen based upon your real-time signals. We can see here that here 2 of the 4 VIXs at this point had flipped going into this short trade. We follow that up with a long trade into the end of the day that really goes nowhere until after the close. Here you can see the reason why I use both of these charts, because on the newer version 13, the ZTP trend low VIX, we can see that we do have 3 winning trades right here, but unfortunately all of them were small winners and not the winners that we were looking for. However, if we look at the trading shorts that we had and the trend on the 25-second ES, it was giving us short trades through this period, which were actually much better short trades than the 3 long trades that we had right here. So this is kind of why I encourage traders to compare and maybe use the 2 charts, one for confirmation along with the live VIX chart. We're going to follow that up with a series of 6 really nice trades. I had to mark this one a loss right here, even though it only went about 3 or 4 ticks against us, but it was no longer divergent at this point. And then we had a nice series of wins over here. We follow that up with 3 additional wins, and 2 losses. We're next going to have a loss that takes us about 3 points down before the trend changes, followed by a short trade that was good for approximately 4.5 points. We then entered a series of very nice short trades where we had 3 outstanding winners. We followed that up with a short trade that again went bullish while we had a profit. However, the trade itself ended up working, but we don't know that when we are in the trade. Follow that up with a short trade for approximately 4.25 points. We're given a real-time signal to exit, and if we do, we have exited with a profit. We have a short loss here and a long loss here, followed again by another 4-point short trade where we're giving a real-time signal to exit. Follow that up with a long trade into a really nice short pattern for approximately 22 points. That is followed by a long trade for a small loss and 2 very nice short trades. We next have a series of long trades, 2 of them which worked nice. This trade here, after approximately an 8-point drop, continued dropping approximately 11.5 points. Followed that up with a very nice short trade for approximately 8 points. We next have a series of 6 winning trades here, followed by 2 losers, 3 additional winners. In the final hour, we have 2 nice short trades here. First for 6.5 points, second for approximately 23.5 points. Follow that up with a losing short trade, and again the pattern goes green, giving us either a small loss or a small profit. We follow that up with a long trade here. After we entered, the trends flipped to red, and at this point you would be wanting to watch your real-time signals. We have exactly the same thing happening here, where after we've entered, the trends both flip to green going into the end of the day. And this brings us to Friday. Out of the open, we had 2 long trades. However, I did not count those because the VIX has not been working from 9:15 to 9:30. So when these 2 trades fired off, we'd only had about a minute or 2 of data, but that did bring us to a successful short trade and a small loss on the second short trade. Next, we had a short trade for a win. Here we had a short trade for approximately a 2-point loss where we lost the divergence at. Here we had a long trade for about a 3 or 4-point loss right there. We're going to follow that up with a series of 2 long successful trades. And again, I do take note that we traded into double divergence distribution and special divergence here when we had about a 4-point profit. That takes us into a short trade that was a loss here, approximately 2 to 3 points, followed by a nice short trade and 2 small losing trades here. Well, after 11, we had a series of 3 winning long trades, and the last one, again, can't emphasize this point enough, we had a real-time signal telling us there was distribution divergence, and that distribution divergence held, and the market sold off approximately 12.5 points. Takes us into a pattern where we have 3 winning trades, 2 small losing trades, followed by 2 small losing trades and 1 winning short trade. Trend goes very bullish, where we have a 12.75 point short, followed by a 10-point short, followed by another 4.5 point short here. We next have a small loss here, followed by a second small loss, and 3 consecutive winners. 2 o'clock, we have a 9-point short winning trade, followed by a very small loss short trade. That follows 4 winners and 1 small loss. We're next going to see the system give us 5 winning trades, followed again by a small loss here, a winner, and another losing trade here. Final hour is going to show us a long losing trade here, followed by 2 winning trades, followed by 2 winning long trades going into the close. I know I've gone kind of fast through that because there was a lot of trades, but if there was something that you were interested in, obviously freeze the video and take a closer look. So to wrap up the week ending October 27th, we saw a total of 195 entries where we had trend and divergence in our favor. Of those 195 trades, we won 138, we lost 57, and that gives us a final winning percentage of 70.7%. Now, what is really important to remember, of course, is past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This is important to remember because these results were during a week of a higher VIX, and this past week the VIX was just absolutely crushed and the market shot up almost 6%. But here's the difference between some trading indicator and the Zonetraderpro trading system. Zonetraderpro is based on real-time divergences and what the VIX is telling us in real time. Other indicators are just doing math, and this is what sets Zonetraderpro apart. Zonetraderpro is using these real-time signals in order to create a trading system. If you should have any questions about what you've seen in this video, please feel free to contact me on Skype or give me a call. And if you've not seen the system before and would like a live demonstration, all you need to do is ask, and we can set up a time that is convenient for both of us. Thanks for watching, and if you should have any questions, let me know. Stay safe and good trading.